All right, all right, all right. Well, hello there, chat. How are you guys? Really nice. Wow, big battle Starsky versus Ukraine matters, and I believe also Vlad. Hey, everyone. Please tell me how you hear me. Okay, so now chat works. All right. I don't know. Okay, whatever. Perfect. Now at least chat box is working. Love you all, guys. I know that right now Starsky and Vlad is also streaming. So if you will watch them, I will completely don't mind. That is fine. We all doing the job for everyone else. Remember, my stream recordings will always be there for you. If you have some concrete questions, remember just to write it comments if you're watching this in recording, and I will see if I can address it either during one of the videos or I will try to address it right there and then, or in one of those future streams. So if you cannot make it right now, we'll just put extra effort into answering your questions and whatnot. So big thanks for at least tuning in to this live. I love you all, but please stick around if you would love to, because I would love to have you here right now. I read the whole thing like while I was prepping for the stream. I read where you guys are from. Very, very nice. I read everything. And more importantly, I saw guys trying to sneakily get some kind of donos, get some kind of gifts. They thought it's like, okay, well, Georgie is not here. We're going to give some donuts. But I saw everything. So HR Lopez says, sorry, I can give more. I'm kind of broke. Slava Ukraini. Slava Ukraini, my friend. And don't worry about it. Seriously, if you're broke, like I don't need the money. Like I'm fine. I'm having enough money for myself. I'm having a really good position. I'm really like I'm fine and set. So the only money that basically I need is to support this channel, to pay for itself, to essentially do the so I can pay for software solution, so I can pay like lights, rent, that extra things and so on. Maybe buy a new camera. I really want to buy a better setup and whatnot. Uh, and the rest I'll just send to Ukraine. So don't worry about this. If you have $5 extra, maybe just send it over to Ukraine. Like send it to Ukraine United 24. Otherwise, if you just want to support me and channel, obviously that is still appreciated. I will still make it make a good use of the donos. Don't get me wrong. Like I still appreciate it. With other than that, Adamantium has gifted 5 subs, 5 membership. Amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Adamantium. Really appreciate the 5 donors. Like someone said, like I thought maybe I was doing not enough when I just started this, but then I heard someone from Ukraine said that in a war this big, there is no job that is too small. So we all contribute slowly towards this. So 5 subs, whatever subs, and so on. That is all amazing. Whoa, Kellen Dunn, $100. I'll get back to that in a second. I'm sorry, but I need to first tackle the people that donated before the stream. I know $100 is a lot, but I also have respect for everyone. Sub Hero, gifted 10 Ukraine members membership. Thanks so much, Sub Hero, which is interesting because like you're giving subs, so you're literally becoming the Sub Hero. I wanted to make this joke for like 15 minutes now. It's terrible. Tim Fletcher, hi, leaving Monday. Good. Well, I mean, like, please take care of yourself, Tim. We really are rooting for you. Please keep us updated. I don't know if you have my mail, like, so just have a mail or something, like, definitely stay in touch. And if you need anything, or if someone from your unit needs anything, just let me know. We're gonna set up like a donation or whatnot just to help out. So please let us know how it's going. And now I can get basically to Kellen. Kellen, thank you so much. I appreciate the money, of course, but more importantly, I appreciate you being here. I appreciate basically you're all on every video, you're commenting, and your comments are always very welcome. I see you every stream as well, or at least maybe after the stream and so on. So big thanks just for being here. Like the $100 is appreciated, but the appreciation first and foremost is for the fact that you are here. I really value that as well. Keep up the excellent work. Whatever happens, no matter the situation, like if people suddenly stop watching me because I offended way too much people or anything, I will continue doing this until the end of the war, guys. This is, you can say, this is my journey, this is my mission that I set out for myself, and whatever happens, I will continue rolling this out, unless I can't. Then obviously I can. Okay, Jagged, welcome to membership. Appreciate it. Haifa, Denmark. Yeah, us. Limo. So what I can say to you. Hello, hello, guys. I need to stop looking at the. So what's changed? So I installed Streamlabs. We long has been discussing with Ali that I should get Streamlabs because you see, first and foremost, no shit, the other way around. Chat. So what people have asked for quite a while is that we get the chat somewhere here. I think it's still kind of broken, to be honest, because it doesn't update as fast as, for example, the chat that I'm reading. So I'm not completely sure what this chat represents. So I still need to figure this out. So please bear with me. This is my first time streaming after the awkward New Year's stream where I couldn't really figure out where the donations are coming from, where the sounds were interrupting the stream all the time. So with all these preamble in place, let's get to the meat in potatoes, guys. So I hope you had it good. Things are interesting. I really appreciate you participating in discussions on the last videos. A lot of really good inputs and a lot of good discussion. I really, really value that. Let me put the chat, and we're gonna get to the questions in just a bit of seconds. So what's happening right now in Bakhmut is obviously tough. We all know that the situation is very, very dire. Some trolls, for some reason, they looked at my video, says like, "Oh my God, why are you saying the situation in Bakhmut is okay?" I was like, "That's not what I'm saying." It's so funny because like when the situation in Bakhmut was fine, and I was saying that was fine, and people said like, "No, it's not fine. Stop lying to everyone." And then now it's like I'm saying, "Okay, the situation in Bakhmut is pretty bad," and they say like, "No, you're saying that the situation is fine." It's like, "No, I'm not." What? So that makes me laugh. And so overall, the situation in Bakhmut is obviously terrible. Like what I wanted to find out, and kind of the additional side of the story that I didn't take into account, and I recently heard it from one of the analysts, is that what might be happening, why additionally, for example, Ukrainians are not being pulled out of Bakhmut at least as fast. Why, for example, we hear that Syrskyi is sending in actually more reinforcements to the troop in Bakhmut, whereas one might say is like, well, the position is kind of bad, you know? It's like, why would you throw more men at the bad position? And the answer is that there is a potential for the fact that Bakhmut position is not just for the Bakhmut itself. It's for the fact that once the Bakhmut is captured, that it will alter the situation across the front line. Basically, the idea is that right now we know where the forces are on the front line. Right now we know how the whole situation, the whole front line looks. We know where Russia puts efforts. We know where they are not pulling efforts. And once essentially Bakhmut is taken, that it's going to alter the perception of the front line. It's going to alter the geometry of the whole setup. So potentially, while it might be also like problematic for troops in the ground, but again, it's always problematic for the troops on the ground. Like, for example, if you've seen Kiyanin, which is the guy, for example, the Jegbro references a lot, and Kiyanin makes a lot of those videos, pretty much everyday updates, and he says that this has been tough pretty much since day one, and we know that last June, July, it was pretty bad as well. So potentially, basically, another angle that I didn't look the situation Bakhmut at is the strategic angle, is the angle that it will alter the geometry, and potentially Ukrainian command wants to keep as the geometry as the same as possible until they can essentially do the counterattack. So prolong it as long as they can. So that's kind of the first and foremost thing that I wanted to tell you about Bakhmut. So just so you're aware, the situation is bad, but the command is there. People are fighting on. Like, it's not coming easy. We definitely hear. I will address today in this stream the stories that people have been discussing lately about that. Hey, maybe Ukrainian army is not as we expect. Like, there's like some things showing that how, for example, mobilized people in Ukraine get carried away, or how other things are happening. And I will address it a little bit later today. So stay tuned. and we're gonna talk about it. But right now, let me dedicate just a little bit of time to answer questions. And I want to just say that we are over 1,004 people. And this is amazing because, firstly, I was not expecting knowing such a hard hitters such as Vlad Vexler and Starsky streaming at the same time, which is, I mean, I'm picking the worst times because last time I was doing the same stream with Dennis. But that's how we agreed with Ali. I'm scheduling stream basically 2 days before. I notify Ellie when the stream is because she's the kind of the head moderator, one might say. But just to kind of give a heads up, and then after that, I'm just not altering whatever happens. So thanks so much for everyone that is watching. Thanks so much for over 500 likes, which is amazing. Please like and share links to this stream. It's really important because that way we can get more information out there. I know I'm repeating this every time, but this is how YouTube works, guys. And I've started this channel without knowing anything how YouTube operates and works and whatnot. And I just realized that, yes, this is the unfortunate part that one must do to kind of get it. So please, no offense, and I don't want to bother you too much, but if you can, would be really appreciated. TMS Lotma. I cannot pronounce it fully, sorry, but thank you so much for joining us, Say Javelin. All right, let's get to the questions. I know you want me to answer some certain things. Remember, if you want to ask question, write an @ and Ukraine matters, because then the message gets highlighted for me and I know what to answer. All right, let me scroll back. Okay, let's go. Oh, this is far way back, but I'm pretty sure there's a lot of questions. Helen Dunn, I enjoy your streams the best, Georgies. Thank you for being genuine, thoughtful, intelligent, and a voice of reason. I mean, I am just being myself. You know, it's like this is basically. I was really bad when I was acting when I was little. I was playing essentially like you know, like a third row actor in my school plays. So I'm really bad actor, and that's why. And I'm also a nerd. Like I like data, I like math, stuff like that. So public being public never was my thing. So I don't know how to work publicly or whatnot. I'm learning this skill of presentation and streaming and whatnot, YouTubing, as we go along with you guys. Some people say I'm advancing quite fast, but I appreciate it. I'm really trying my best here. Thanks for bearing it with me. I know sometimes, like, especially when I'm speaking, I can go on a tangent and completely forget the topic and like talk about something else. That is just something that still happens. Mark Raven, thanks for 20 pounds. Should add a question though. Okay, Joe Abdullah, I always find listening to you more entertaining. Thanks. That's not what my wife says. No, I'm joking. I'm on time for stream. Yes, you are indeed on time. Jon Olofsson, the other streams can be seen, heard later. Stay here for at least for a while. Thanks. Yes, I appreciate it. Everyone who is staying here, everyone that is over 1,070 of you, every single one. Thanks. Thank you so much. Andrew Knight, hi from UK. Good to be on the Start From stream. Yes, welcome. Pepito, love from Martin Lut. Thanks, analysis. Love from Canada. My love to Canada, guys. Okay, must say, when I were talking about the things, you know, the political discussion, I mostly build it around like what was represented, who were the speakers at the Munich Security Summit, and some of the other players in the world. So when I skipped Canada, it was not to spite Canada, or like when I skipped some other countries, it was not because of spite. Like I really appreciate Canada is doing a lot, like a lot more than some of the European countries for sure. And it was not to spite Canada. It's just it's just missed me. Like, so for every country that I missed, it's fine. Like, yeah, I love you guys. Thank you so much. Constantine MT, thanks for 10 gifted subs. Appreciate it. You're joining the Sub Hero camp. Ooh, we should call it the Sub Hero pledge. Like, that would be nice. A tenner. Heinrich Barty, as much as you love Starsky and the others, I find your stream more informative. Thank you for your work. Absolutely. Welcome. I'm going to try to do my best. Tim Fletcher, da, got your information. We'll keep you posted. Perfect. Thank you, Tim. We're really, really, like everyone here, I'm pretty sure, aware the team is going to Ukraine, and we're going to be really following him, and we're going to see that he's fine. Greg C1. Parents have gone in forwards to QAnon, to anti-vax, and now anti-Ukraine. Advice? Dude, I'm not a parental advice. Like, I have people around me that become really big vatniks. I just don't talk with them. I'm not a big family man as well. Like I don't really have very close relationship with my family, with my mom especially as well. So I'm definitely not a person to ask advice from. Like if you ask me about data and like how to analyze data and like what's the information from the battlefield, this is 10 times easier for me to answer than giving relationship advice. Seriously, can't tell you. Shells 1967. Starsky on my phone. Ukraine Matters on my tab. It's nice to be on a tab. Thanks. HR Lopez, appreciate all your work. I appreciate it. And again, thanks so much for Dono. Bob Francis. Thanks, Denmark, for 2% NATO support. Absolutely. All the way up. John Richards, thanks so much for £5. Appreciate it. Okay, so far, not a lot of questions, mostly just mentions people. I would love to see you interview Gary Kasparov, Taras Kuzio, and General Hodges. Gary Kasparov, I know. Taras Kuzio, I don't know. General Hodges would be nice. I would especially love to talk with General Hodges. A lot of people ask him about Ukraine. I would love to know more about the initiative that he's working with. Like, I believe it was called Democracy First, because as you know, I really appreciate the war in Ukraine and the fact that we need to support Ukraine, because it finally woke up the slumbering Western perspectives on how do we want to see the world. What is the relationship between democracies, autocracies, and if before it was kind of, like me taking it for granted that democracies are just weak and that we should be weak, and the more kind of this war has shown us that no, we don't have to be weak, we must be strong. So that's why I'm really interested in the that group that and initiative that Ben Hodges is working, or I believe he's like advisor to it, which was Democracy First. That would be really interesting. As for Gary Kasparov, I appreciate for his positions. He's probably, if you would pull like a whole specter of the Russian opposition, I believe Gary Kasparov would be probably the closest thing that I would agree with, because he has a lot of the anti-imperialist views. He's probably one of the biggest critics, actual, and the actual opposition leader. The problem I see with Gary Kasparov is that he's irrelevant. That like as many of the other oppositions, he doesn't matter. So talking with him as a nice, interesting discussion would be nice, but he's not influencing anything. So he is the same kind of streamer bro category, maybe like this. So that's why I don't want to give false hope that if Gary Kasparov is this, he's the big opposition leader in Russia, which he is not really. But to be honest, if I would be able to speak with him, that would be very, very interesting. But as I said, one of the things that kind of look at me is like, he's a Russian oppositionist that don't really, eh. But of all of the Russian opposition, I think his stances are very, very acceptable to how I see it. Though not fully, as always. Sub Hero, I always work in leaps of 10. 10 of your 10 of your streams. Will the Ukrainians pull out of Bakhmut in time? I can't help being a pessimist. It seems precarious to me. Well, a lot of the Ukrainian troops were already pulled out. We know that essentially it's only what is necessary right now in Bakhmut. So depending on what you mean, like some troops potentially will be pulling out under gunfire if the situation will continue advancing. But we need to understand that there is no safe space in war. Everyone that is fighting on the front lines know that they can die. We're going to talk a little bit more about this, but this is going to depend on the plan that Ukraine has for it. I trust the armed forces of Ukraine is because most of the time that we had these encirclement problems past Mariupol. Mariupol was a special case because it was just the start of the war, and there was a very rapid advance of the Russians. It was an untenable position, unfortunately. And past Mariupol, there was multiple moments when encirclement was kind of coming, and people already like, okay, the encirclement is almost there, and then Ukrainians would be able to still to pull out. So I think that Ukrainians still have it under control. So I trust the armed forces of Ukraine in this one. Killen Dunn, I heard Ukraine sent reinforcements to the flanks. Will this reduce the reserves held for the offensive later? It might. Like that's what I know, because I don't know if it was the forces that were meant for the counteroffensive or not. So we don't know. We've heard that reinforcements, potentially these are not reinforcements. These are just troops to essentially lock the enemy flanks with fighting, like to like a so-called what is it called, rear guard fighting force, and potentially they will lock in the forces in combat and would allow the main force move out of Bakhmut. So potentially it's not really reinforcement, but more of a um, uh, rear guard units. Carson Larimore, thanks for $10. Are DNR and LNR prisoners kept as traitors to Ukraine or allowed to be exchanged? As far as I'm aware, Ukraine is very liberal to exchange policy. We know events when Ukraine did exchange some of the Ukrainian citizen. Like the best example was Medvedchuk, which is like Putin's friend. It's kum, but like, I don't know the word. So like a buddy, and he was exchanged, for example, for Azov fighter. So Ukraine might do it, but then again, we need to understand that DNR and LNR population is the low of the low. They're the complete bottom of the barrel when we go into value for Russians. So I'm not really sure that even if Ukraine would want to exchange them, that anyone on the Russian side would really want to exchange them. On regular troops, the most kind of exchange worthy are Kadyrov troops, though they're kind of a little bit like running dry now, and some of the Wagnerites, like higher ranking Wagnerites, are also for exchange, and VDV. LNR, DNR, yeah, I don't think. Johnny Wishbone, thanks so much for $80. Appreciate it. Dylan Waller, what are your thoughts on what's happening today in Bryansk Oblast? Russia claims it is Ukraine, which doesn't make sense to me. No, because we know that Ukrainian groups have already been operating on a territory of Russia. I'm not sure about territory of Belarus, but we even know of one of these groups being destroyed, and then like they're quite famous for that because they recorded like some of the videos, like Our Last Journey and whatnot. So it was a very, very sad moment when that kind of like a special forces group, like, and this group supposedly is like posing with a flag and everything. So I'm calling BS, and I'm just thinking that this is some kind of potential Russian propaganda to motivate Russians to resist Ukraine, because apparently they want to do something. It doesn't fit what we know how the special forces operate, of special forces of Ukraine. I'll remind you that Ukraine is still completely denying that any of the drones are belonging to Ukraine. So it just doesn't make sense. Susan, thanks so much for 5 memberships. Appreciate it. Michael Hill, if you can please talk about the ongoing logistics concerning supplies to the front lines. Yes, the main logistic concerning supplies is that there is not enough shit. Ukraine needs more shit. Like, send Ukraine more shit. That's what I can tell you about logistics. No, but we need to know that Ukraine is gathering up stuff. Like, we need to understand that what is happening right now, Ukraine wants to spend as little resources possible to defend against the Russian attacks, while also gathering up resources and preparing for the counteroffensive. So, let me give you an example. So you get 10 RPGs, right? How do you distribute the 10 RPGs that you get in between the forces that are defending and the forces that are attacking, right? That's the dilemma that the Ukrainians are in, right? They want to prepare for the counterattack because Ukrainians want to retake their land. They want to push the Russians out to the 91 border, and to do that, they would need to essentially. Oh my God, am I echoing? I hope I'm not echoing. Yeah, to do that, basically, they would need to set more of those RPGs to the preparation, because whenever you are attacking, you're expending more resources. So imagine you getting 10 RPGs, and of which you take 7, and you say this is for attack, and then you have the rest 3 and says defend now, guys. So that's the situation that Ukraine is right now. So that's the logistics problems. Ukraine just needs more shit. The more shit Ukraine has, the easier it will be. Ilandan, is Chasiv Yar a good defensive place to hold? Yes. I think it's on a hill, but not certain. Yes, it is on a hill. So there is a lot of really, really good places before even like, well, Chasiv Yar as well. But like people say, it's like, oh, it's like as soon as Bakhmut is taken, the Ukraine is going to get pushed back to Slavyansk and Kramatorsk. It's like, no. Like I did actually mistake. I when I talked about Bakhmut in my last rant video about explaining you how shitty the Russian army is, I said that the Bakhmut is a city of 300,000 pre-war, and I was completely wrong. I was so wrong. I was the wrongest. And it was because Bakhmut is a city of 70,000 only. So I overstated the size of Bakhmut multiple times. So Bakhmut is an extremely small city. Like 70,000, that's, I don't know, mega town, let's put it this way. Like it's not even a or mega village, you can say. Like it's a very barely a city. So, and Russian apparently mighty force is struggling to get around it, like with all super effort. Like Russia is done. Like they're so done. It's unbelievable just how done they are. So Chasiv Yar is a good defensive position, but there is also other defensive positions right before even Kramatorsk and Slavyansk. So it's not going to be a joyride for Russians to get there. LG, thanks for 20 bucks. I donate almost everything to Ukrainian cause. Thank you so much for that. But people that keep us informed deserve something to help them keep going. I do wish it could be more, but many hands make light work. Thanks so much. And please don't donate if this is not something that is not crucial for you. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for the support. I will make sure that this goes for good use on my side. Thanks. Appreciate it. Okay. Oh, no, it jumped. Okay, where was the question? Where I was talking about? Okay, guys, sorry, chat jumped for me. Miroslav Horvat. Some media reported that Ukraine started using their new rockets, Vilha M, 150 kilometer. Do you know anything about it? Best regards from Croatia. Yes, they have started using it, but I mean, the number of those Vilha M are not that big. We need to understand that in this war, number matters. Like, for example, remember all of these fancy Terminator discussions? And at the end, it was like the Russian tank support vehicle that everyone was looking at. And at the end, it turned out that this is like, it's just, okay, it's a glorified infantry fighting vehicle. Cool. How many of you have them? 10? Well, who cares? And it's the same kind of shit as well. So it's like, it's nice that Ukraine has some of those Wilhelms, but it would be nice if Ukraine would have 100 of those. And it doesn't. Heinrich Barty, what do you think about the Enforcer fundraiser you guys were on? I must be honest, it felt more like a bump on their channel than genuinely giving you guys some airtime, no offense. Heinrich, I don't care. Like it was to support Ukraine, and I felt it felt good for me. I'm not sure if it's my kind of flow. I think it was just a little bit, too official, sometimes too fast. I don't know. It's probably just not my kind of style. It's not the way that I roll. I'm a lot more chill. So I like these, like these discussions like we're having, like basically friend to friend. I don't know how to make a show. I'm not a big show guy at all, to be honest. I like these just discussion. Like in Danish, there is a great concept of hygge. Well, you can Google it up. It's HYGGE, hygge, and it's really good. Like that's how I see these kind of streams. I want this to be very hygge. Yes, Pavel X. Do you sympathize with blinking over his having to engage with Sergei, the lying horse face Lavrov? That's what the democracy, oh my God, diplomacy. That's what you sign off for when you agree to be a diplomat. You need to go talk to assholes. That's the unfortunate part. Line Luigi, when you talked about support from previous nations, you did not mention Italy. Can you expand on what Italy is going as seen from abroad? Thanks. So Italy is doing quite a lot. They have been doing a lot pretty much from the start, uh, but it was very much, how do we say, under the blanket. It was because in Italy, the political situation is extremely unstable in Italy. It's a very shaky alliance that they have in government. So that's why I was actually quite surprised when Meloni came to power, that she actually became publicly acknowledged. She started publicly acknowledging that Italy is not only supporting Ukraine, that is sending more and more weapons, like, for example, anti-air support a lot. Like there was also some Italian IPCs we've seen. There was also support vehicles that Italy sent, like transport vehicles, super important. So Italy has been doing quite a lot. It's just with Meloni now coming there, she's like, yes, we have another package coming, like another like 300 million that's coming, and she's like visiting Kiev and whatnot, and that's actually quite amazing when you read statements from the other parties that are in her government. It's actually like I'm surprised how much balls she has. I think maybe there is like some Ukrainian blood there somewhere. I'm joking. I'm joking, but I really appreciate it. Like Italy is probably one of the biggest surprises for Meloni's position, because to be honest, I thought Italy will fall in the same boat as Hungary and Austria. So I'm eating my words back then. Literally here for the rants and tangents. The Oman, thanks. Roman Singer, Starsky has 1.2k viewers. Soon you are the big fish. Nah, I don't think so. Like the big fish is the warriors of Ukraine. I'm a guy on YouTube that just making rants, bad mouthing, and wearing shirts that apparently, oh, so some people like I for a longer time I misunderstand, because like people say it's like, Georgie, why are you wearing the shirt with like this logo? Oh, sorry, it's on the other side with this logo, and it's like, do you know that this is offensive? And I was like, what are you talking about? It's just a Kappa shirt. And apparently, so on the trucks in US, there is like some of these things that like the truck girls that they called or something like this, and it's like a naked girl that is like sitting, and they put it like on a back flaps on the trucks, and it's like, oh, you're objectifying women or something like this. And I was like, no, this is just a kappa short. It's like it's not the same. So apparently, people in US, some people, or at least, they haven't never seen what Kappa is or Kappa logo is. So they thought that I'm wearing like a shirt that has some kind of naked girls on it. That was hilarious. So that was extremely interesting for me to find out that apparently I am just here being sexist again. It was pretty funny. But no, this is just a Kappa. It's an Italian, I believe it's Italian clothing company, and this logo symbolizes twins. Essentially, it's a man and a woman that's sitting with the back to each other. So there, it's not two naked girls. Did Ukraine deploy the Leopard 2 tanks they received from to Bakhmut? No, I don't think they will. Why would they do this? It's a breakthrough tank. Ukraine is going to deploy Leopard 2 tanks when they're going to go for breakthrough. That's the point. PH Gonzal, thanks for 20 bucks. We all go for the victory. Robin Mellon, thanks for 65 Swedish krona. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. I had questions, guys. I would love to answer your questions. Darren Corrigan, what about Douglas McGregor and him talking Ukraine down? I mean, he's a pro-Russian shill. Like, I tried answering him, like answering his critiques constructively many times, and to be honest, I don't think it's worth it. I don't think like whatever when he opens his mouth, it's just not worth answering. It's just useless. Like, he is a complete Russian shill. He has Putin's dick so down his throat, so much down his throat that I cannot hear the words that he's saying. It's just coming out whenever he speaks. Derek, do you think the Ukrainian Air Force will bomb the heck out of Bakhmut after armed forces of Ukraine with drones and Russians are concentrated there? Potentially. I mean, I'm not sure if Ukraine has so much ammo and that their aviation can actually do such a task, but they will strike the targets when it's necessary. Sure. Matty, in our rural area in Germany, we have 2 young refugees from Ukraine and they play table tennis in our club. Oh, nice. Nice to know. Thanks so much for hosting refugees, by the way. All my German viewers, thank you so much for hosting a lot of Ukrainian refugees. It really matters a lot. Snowy House and Trees, what's your thoughts on Serbia's gift of ammo and talks about Albania? I don't know how to react. Like, to be honest, I don't know how to react. Like, last stream, a couple of Serbian guys dropped in and says, like, hey, we support Ukraine. I was like, wow, that's a surprise. Like, anyone from Serbia coming. And I appreciate it, guys, still, if you're watching right now. But now we apparently see Serbia selling weapons to Ukraine. And I was like, okay, this works for me. I mean, like, I mean, they obviously said, like, because the was it the prime minister or president? I forgot who is the main guy in Serbia. So he said that, oh, but we gave it like with a condition that Ukraine will not use these missiles on the battlefield on the front line. So I was like, that. Okay, wow. Either he's very naive, or that's a lot of crap. So I'm calling it a lot of crap. Roy FR, thanks for 20 bucks. Always enjoy your insights. Thanks for keeping us informed. Absolutely. We'll continue doing it until the end of war. And I'm going to slowly explain to you as we go along what we're going to do after the war. So yeah, Serbia's gifts. Keep it coming. Keep it coming. Serbia, all countries. Fuck the Russians. Maddie, I said Slava Ukraine to them and had the impression I offended them. When I asked why, they said I don't like it because they have relatives in Russia. I'm confused. There is a lot of Vatniks in Ukraine. Like, a lot of the Vatniks, they left Ukraine. Because even in Ukraine, there's about 7-10% that are traitors, that are people that really want Ukraine to be gone. There are people that are genuinely have hate to Ukraine. Even in Ukraine, those maybe they are just Russian. Like we need to understand that there are those kind of people, and a lot of them left Ukraine to live in EU and enjoy their status. So that is one of the things. Mark Garcia, hi Mark, nice seeing you again. Any thoughts about Moldova? Is just a sideshow or just something starting out to happen? I think it's a sideshow. Like, I gave it a hard look. I don't expect anything to happen. I don't expect. If something serious happen, I believe Moldova will call in for help. I don't expect major things to happen. Russia has no way to send in forces, right? The forces that are in Transnistria are not sufficient. They will just get crushed because the Sandu will just says, okay, we've been attacked as a country. I declare the state of emergency. Therefore, Ukrainians come to rescue, or Romania comes to the rescue, and then everyone gets crushed, and then Moldova is dealt with. I think it's a side destruction, hybrid war, just to kind of take stuff, stop worrying about it, just to escalate for the sake of escalation. Two Wolves. I may have missed the one that you earlier casts, but do you think the 2008 large energy resource found in eastern Ukraine was the real reason Putin attacked? No. No, 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 it's not. It's how a lot of Westerners try to justify the wars for themselves because they cannot believe that a guy can be so delusional. So they try to see that Putin is some kind of grand strategist, that he is like obsessed. No, it's a false justification. This is not a resource war. This is a genocide war. Putin is there to destroy Ukraine as a nation. He wants to erase Ukrainian history. He wants to erase Ukrainian nation and what's not. Let's put it this way. If you're fighting a resource war, you don't start burning books right for the first thing after you capture a village. That's what I'm saying. Darren Young, Georgie, do you think we will see the Bradleys in Bakhmut? At some point, yeah, potentially. I mean, they're coming to Ukraine, so yes. Maybe Bakhmut, maybe everywhere else. We'll see. Martin Pollack, do you think we will get to know how much money was crowdfunded in this war, maybe only after the war? I mean, I'm pretty sure historians and economists are going to somehow find it out, but I think a lot of that will be just estimates. Dr. Canada, I know you didn't do Canada dirty. I thought for a second you might have thought Canada and the same. I met people who thought that. No, I didn't thought that Canada and US the same. No, I don't compare the two. I have too much love for Canada. So I distinguish where US is and where Canada is. So don't worry. You know why? Because ice hockey. Because in Latvia, ice hockey is a major thing. Because ice hockey is like basically a religion in Latvia, where I'm from. And well, obviously, because of that, I know all of the major countries that play ice hockey well. Helen Dunn, General Hodges thinks Crimea is coming home in late 2023, but that depends on EA getting long-range missiles. Do you agree? Yes, General Ben Hodges has been very, very precise in his predictions, but his predictions were always on the fact that saying that Ukraine should get what it needs. He's been already criticizing a lot of the deliveries, that they are too slow, and that US, for example, can do a lot more. But apparently, because Biden's position is to align on everything with the allies, which one might say is a little bit better, but that is slowing down the US's effort a little bit. Well, not even a little bit, a lot. So, what are your thoughts about fighting in Bryansk? Yeah, I think it's a hoax. I think it doesn't fall. It doesn't fall. I think it's a false flag operation because that's not how Ukrainian special ops work. We've heard and seen how special units of Ukraine work on the Russian territory, and this is not how they operate. Too loud. Georgie, your take on dynamics on the war drone. Georgie, your take on the dynamics of the first drone waves into Russia proper. I covered it in a video just recently, but it should be terrifying for the Russians because if Ukraine really have produced en masse long-range drones, at some point they're going to start striking things that matter. They will find where air defense is weak, and they're going to start completely ruining Russian infrastructure. Right now, they're trying to figure out how to deal with Russian, how do you say, electric warfare? Not electric, but how do you say, the anti-drone warfare, like the ones that are scrambling drones and so on. So they need to figure it out if they want to advance with that. But I'm pretty sure it's a problem that can be figured out. I heard anything about the Witch of Bakhmut and her team? Well, Witch, I'm pretty sure she's working, unless I haven't heard. So, Witch, she is a commander of a mortar unit. So I'm pretty sure that she has a lot of work as a mortar team commander. So right now, mortars are what is keeping Bakhmut alive. So I'm pretty sure she's working nonstop. General Hodges works for an organization called Human Rights Watch. Human Rights Matter. I believe it's called human rights first. Not sure if it's human rights matter. He does many podcasts every week. You should reach out to him. Yeah, maybe I will. Maybe I will. You really need to work on your Matthew McConaughey impressions with that. All right, all right, all right. Yeah, I write that phrase. I like that. I like that phrase, but I'm really bad with my impressions. Kim and then Hohenson. If I wanted to listen to a suit being strangled by his tie, lots of options. Prefer you and your direct into direct manner, so down the stress. Cool. Then you right up my alley. The Russians seem to be making gains slowly, but still moving towards Marinka. Do you think the concentration on Bakhmut is stopping the reinforcement? I mean, again, like moving slowly, it's not even, it's an understatement compared to the scale and any kind of achievable goals for the Russians. Even if we believe propaganda, they say Russia doesn't want to take Ukraine, which is, I hope we can agree, is complete BS nonsense. Then any kind of like, oh, Russia will capture Donbass, firstly, doesn't matter because that doesn't stop the war. Secondly, even going towards that goal, they are years with current tempo, they are years away from that target. So no, they are not moving like from how far the goal is and how fast they are moving, they're almost not moving at all. Let's put it this way. I don't know which of you two to watch now. It's literally Starsky versus Ukraine matters. Yeah. Mika Rasaka, democracy is never weak. Uh, I would love that you would be true on that, but yeah. Eh. Varuk, hi Georgia. Recently, Anthony Blinken visited Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan. What's your stance on Kazakhstan and other CA countries? You think they might be help military put? So they're in a difficult position. Kazakhstan puts a lot of cooperation with China. Surprisingly, for example, in China's policies, Russia is not listed as allies or friends. They're like a neutral state, whereas Kazakhstan, for example, is listed as an ally and a friend. So Kazakhstan is falling out of orbit of Russia completely. So it just makes sense that Kazakhstan also start interacting with the West. But they cannot become what, for example, Ukraine has become, just because they're located in Mid-Asia, and Mid-Asia is dictatorship on top of dictatorship on top of dictatorship. They have no Western powers to support them if need be. They're a very tough position, so they cannot become a country like Ukraine. But they're drifting towards China, so potentially they will be more like, well, China. So both interacting with the West while having their own semi-weird dictatorship. John Mason, last winter we kept being told that Russian forces would suffer because of their lack of winter clothes. Is there any evidence that it's happened? Yes, it did happen a lot. A lot of things have happened during winter, but overall, a big number of Russian forces stayed on inside Russia, inside Russian camps. But I didn't agree that it's gonna be how do you say that it's gonna be a lot of dead bodies. Russians know how to heat themselves up, but we definitely saw, like, if you remember, once Kherson offensive ended, the number of bodies per day didn't drop, which one would consider that this was happened when you close one huge front line where people like, well, these Russian forces are essentially sitting ducks. Then what should you expect is per day number of losses for Russians to start dropping. But as kind of winter started, we just saw the numbers of daily casualties for Russians just increase and increase. So yeah, this winter was very terrible for the Russians, but not for the reasons that people assumed. It was because like they weren't getting a lot of calories, they were exposing themselves by heating up the places around them, and it's because they were not willing to fight a lot of times. So that on chat screen just nuts lags and then whistles through the North channel is the best. Okay, I'm switching it off then. Fuck it. That guy is Putin's daughter's godfather. Yes, the Medvedchuk is Putin's daughter's godfather. Yes, exactly. Confederate States of America. Should we worry about Russia after the war? What Russia? No, I think in conventional way, Russia doesn't is not threatening to anyone, like even the Baltics, because Ukraine destroyed conventional forces of Russia. The problem becomes when if Russia wins, that's when it's going to become a problem. Because if Russia wins, then basically China is going to get motivated because Russia, in one way or another, is falling into the lap of China. Now, the question is, will it be the semi-dead husk of Russia after losing the war with internal problems and whatnot? Or will it be a victorious Russia that will not be able to interact with the West just because of what they did? And then China will see that, hey, this works. Like if you threaten the world with nuclear weapons, you can still win. Let's team up. And at that moment, China will team up and they will have a lot stronger alliance. So that's the unfortunate part. So, but since there is no victory for Russia in this war, so I don't think we should worry. Would you interview Douglas McGregor? No, it would be problematic for me to talk to him because, as I explained before, whenever he's talking, I just hear fart noises. So, Storm Dragon, do you think after the war, when Russia wins, there will be a Berlin War built between Ukraine and Russia? Oh, but when Ukraine wins, oh my God, I misread it with my I read it with my ass. Sorry. Potentially, it's gonna depend what's gonna happen with Russia. Hard to say. Adamantium, thanks again for the subs. Appreciate it. Could you try and do an interview with Denis Prokopenko? I mean, Denis Prokopenko. That's one of the guys from Azov regiment, right? Isn't he like in Turkey and he's prohibited to influence this war? I'm not sure I can do interview with him. Wait, is Denis Prokopenko is who I think it is? Let me Google this. Denis Prokopenko. Yeah, Rudy. Yeah, it's the guy from Azov. I mean, shit. If I would be able to do it, I would love it. I mean, the guy is hero for sure. Lil Bubs, what are your thoughts on the upcoming offensive in the south being another misinformation campaign on Ukraine's part, like they did with the Kharkiv counteroffensive? It's possible. It's possible. It's definitely possible. But we need to understand that south is indeed a very important target. Like southern part, if it's cut, is a major breakthrough of the war. Major. Like on the verge of basically completely like stopping any kind of sense for this war to go on. Like it's a major breakthrough. Varrock, hi Georgie. Recently, Anthony Blinken visited Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan. Okay, I already talked about this. Yes. Lu Gersheng, China is the elephant in the room. Maybe, I guess. I don't know. Oh no, chat jumped. I guess I was too slow. Let's go. Calendar, how many civilians left in a Bakhmut? Some people counted around 2,000. So maybe less, maybe more. A lot of traitors still there. Ukrainians are actually complaining about it, saying that they're just waiting there, and like when the Russian troops are coming in, they're just trying to heat them up and so on. So plenty of those. Chris Lambert, Georgie, what's your take on a supposedly large drone attack on Russia? Okay, I think I read it. Yeah, drone attack on Russia. It's bad news for Russian and at some point Ukrainians are gonna find out a way to get around the air defense system, and at that moment Russia is gonna get fucked. Georgie, what's okay? In the UK, you are kappa slappa if you wear this in some places, which is derogatory, by the way. Seriously, what? 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 Kappa is derogatory. Okay, I've never found out why kappa is derogatory. Seriously, if you have some information about kappa and why is it derogatory, please guide me in because I couldn't find anything about it. Like the only thing I was able to find is that like this was the thing. Robin Merlin, your thoughts on Weeb Union and History Legends? I mean, the guys are just regurgitating Russian propaganda, so not much else to say. The guys are building clout on spitting Russian propaganda, and people eat it up with scoop and asking for more. That's why I always say, guy, thanks so much for promoting. Uh, that is the guy behind Weeb Union from Denmark? I don't know. Potentially, maybe. That on-screen chat lags from Weasel. Okay, yeah. Peter Talek, I love the show. UN, which is the no news on the Bayraktar these days. So much news in the beginning of the war. Air defense, Russian air defense, pretty powerful. So Bayraktars are working from longer range, and they're working in areas where air defense is not as strong, mostly around the sea. Yes, that's the misinformation. We read this. We're going to talk about mobilization of Ukrainians. Just a second. I will, let's say, additional 10 minutes. Madame Saundera. I'm a kids teacher. Please give a shout out to the 5 Ukrainian kids in my class here in Poland. Hey guys, big shout out to 5 Ukrainian kids. You should have written the names though. Shout out to the 5 kids in the class in Poland. I would love to know the names, please. Please write me the names of the kids. Then we'll give a proper greeting to every single one of them. Dr. Canada, I've been trying to keep up to date on what Canada is doing to help. Can you say how they're helping? I know they aren't doing enough. I mean, they're doing as much as they can. I mean, Canada, for example, was the first country to supply Leopard 2 to Ukraine, as an example. But Canada is also supplying some of the what is it called, the normal necessity clothing, like socks, food, whatnot. Also ammunition for all the different stuff like guns and whatnot, and additionally, as I said, tanks, and moreover anti-air systems. Canada is promised some anti-air systems, so Canada is doing some stuff. Wayne Redwell, do the Ukrainians have an issue? Okay, I'm going to talk about this in a second. What to do with Transnistria? Get rid of it. F. Mertz. Donovan, Donovan, sorry. I think Serbian government is very unhappy about the Russians trying to start trouble in Kosovo about 6-7 months ago. Potentially, I don't know. Raven 7, I saw my first Ukrainian number plate here in UK this week in Kendal. Also the biggest Ukrainian flag I've seen here in the top church. Cool. Dylan Voyle, watching the stream together with 2 friends from Izium. They live with me since April. They really appreciate your streams and support for Ukraine. Pronunciation is Dylan Fochler. Dylan Fochler. Dylan Fochler. So it's more like F. Dylan Fochler. Okay. Thank you so much for this, and big cheers to them. I hope they can come back to Izium soon, once Ukrainians will push Russians a little bit further, so Izium is not going to be targeted anymore. Recently, there was like some couple of weeks ago or a month ago, there was like a strikes on Izium that was nasty. Oh, Francis, Orban, Hungary again delayed Sweden, Finland's. Yeah. What thoughts? Orban is an asshole. He should be get out of EU. At least should be Hungary, until Orban is removed, should be suspended from EU, NATO. That's my thoughts. Like, I might be wrong. I'm not a decision maker or politician. I'm just saying how I think. Paul Cooler, Georgie, what do you think about those destroyed tanks brought to the Baltic capitals? Pretty good. Flycatchers, Provatniks. Yeah. I mean, like, what is it in Germany that they put flowers on the tank that they put near the Russian? I mean, that's terrible. Like, to be honest, that was disgusting. For me, that's very disgusting. Like, fucking genocide supporters coming and saying, yeah, kill some more civilians. Yeah, rape some more kids. Yeah, here's some fucking flowers. Yeah, assholes. Oh, hate them so much. Susanna Quiros, thanks so much. Thanks for 60 euros. Like, I just can't. Like, so yeah. But the tanks in Baltics, well, I mean, in Baltics, Vatniks know that they shouldn't probably do stuff. Bolts are very, very straightforward to where they can go. I mean, I'm pretty sure you've seen the recent talk from the from the Latvian guy in the OSC about the elephant in the room. Look, Varric. Why everyone talks about tanks and jets, but not a lot about artillery and shell shortage? Because those things are getting supplied. Well, Russia is using artillery non-stop, and the entire West cannot mobilize production of shells. West is getting mobilized. The Western military didn't expect to fight this kind of war. They are mobilizing production of shells as much as they can. Like a lot of things are being pulled. I've listened to plenty of analysts that are saying the West is pretty much pulling every string to try to get any kind of production of shells going. Russia is not having such a good time with shells as well. So it's not that it's only Ukraine. And again, as I said with Ukraine, the problem is that once they get, for example, 100 ammunition pieces, they need to save 70 ammunition pieces for the counteroffensive. Did you follow the AstroTurf Tucker protest in NATO countries before the Russian invasion? Oh yeah, it's like it was. I mean, I don't want to see. It's like it's a lot of these stuff. Like I mean, the propaganda was so spread, and we were just so welcoming to it. It's a little bit disingenuous. You know that I don't support intolerance. So when they said like, yeah, fuck the democracy, yeah, for me that's the end. Maybe so. Maybe I should rant about it. Like, who wants to get offended? Let's offend some. Okay, let's offend someone, guys. Let's save your questions. Whoever I didn't read, please repent. Time to get offended. I need to actually put the segment on. Maybe I can call it somewhat. Like, give you a proposal so later on how to call this segment when I'm gonna be making a rant to offend someone. So the thing I don't understand, and maybe you American viewers guys can explain this to me. So why are these guys popular, like Major Taylor Green and so on? I've watched Jake Bro's video and so on. Obviously, I follow American politics, but I try not to talk about it too much. Firstly, because that's not what the channel is about, and secondly, I might have my opinion, but I'm very, very far from understanding what like the internal American movements are, and so I kind of follow it. Like I can explain it to a person if he asks me, but giving advice or giving opinions is not usually my thing. But certain things I am very much confident of, and one of the most interesting thing that completely just gets my blood boiling is the fact that apparently a lot of these MAGA Republicans like Major Taylor Green and so on, we obviously see people appealing and saying, well, what's they're doing is like unethical. They want to support Ukraine and so on. And for me, it's always, this is nice, but kind of you're missing the main point. And the main point is that they are the weakest of the bunch. They are fucking losers. Like that's the crazy part for me, because for me, when I think America, I'm thinking winning. Like when I'm thinking America, I'm thinking, yes, we need to be number one. We need to be the best. We need to be, you know, like really, really amazing country or like amazing people and whatnot, you know? It's like we're the super fucking power of this world. So whenever I hear that, that doesn't make sense for me, because then you see guys like these that are fucking losers, that are basically the direct representation of what I'm saying is the whole weakness in a lot of democracies. It is the defeatist mentality. It is the mentality that we as democracies need to be weak, that we need to bow to everything that is happening in the world, that we can never win, that we need to agree to whatever every other power is telling to us, that we have not our own say. And for me, this is completely crazy, because in a country that is supposedly like a number one, like a most like, okay, we need to win this because we are the democracy, the beacon or stuff. Or even if you are, you know, the country self-centrist, saying, okay, we know that there's a lot of stuff happening in the world, but like, you know, America first, like, let's get our shit together first. Understand that again. But what they are proposing is essentially saying, well, this is too complicated for us, so let's you know, like let's let it solve out itself. Let's not interact, and even if these strengthens our enemies, let's just leave it be, Because what they're saying essentially is like, imagine running, right? If you're running a 100-meter dash, and it's like, oh my God, it's getting really hard. And like, there is a guy that is like running next to you. And instead of like stepping up and trying to compete with him, and then you're looking at what they're saying, essentially, oh my God, that guy to the right is running so fast to us. Ooh, I better save up some strength for my next run. Because with this mentality, you can say it every run. You can say it every run. So now that, because the excuse they're giving is like, oh, we need to focus on China. Was like, but like your adversary is winning this. Like, because if Russia wins, China wins as well. You are strengthening the Chinese position if you are happening. So because they're saying America first, okay, they say Europe doesn't matter. Okay, Eastern Europe doesn't matter. Let's not put ourselves in. Okay, fine. For me, safe, it's defeatist positions. But then, for example, China looks at this, okay, cool, now Taiwan, and imagine Taiwan is under threat, and now, oh, and now suddenly America needs to send their own troops to defend Taiwan, and then these guys, again, jump out like Jack in a box and like, you know, shaking their shitty-ass head. And it's like, oh, but like, you know, Taiwan is not really our problem. Why would we resist China? Like, why would we put our soldiers there on the ground to defend what value is for us? Well, that's again the defeatist position. They are such a big losers that they are ready to essentially step back, step back, step back, step back until US and all the glory of the country, everything that was achieved by the forefathers and the founding nations is gone. How much more of a loser you need to be to have this kind of mentality? And this is something that like completely blows my mind. Just because how is this not obvious? Like for example, Jake is like saying, it was like, oh, they are, you know, traitors, they have their own thing. It's like, they're not just traitors, they're losers. That's kind of the main point. So that's my rant. So I'm probably again offended a lot of bunch of people, but it's not that, like, you know, policies can make sense. I've said it multiple times, and people have quoted me on this already in my face. That, for example, I think that Trump's policy on Iran was a good one. I don't think that there should have been any negotiations with Iran, period. I thought that they shouldn't be in any deal. I thought a lot of Obama's policies was complete dog shit. For example, when Obama went to Kremlin after 2008, after Kremlin invaded Georgia and then said, oh, let's restart our relationship with Russia. And we totally are like, wow, whatever you did there in Georgia totally doesn't matter to us. So it's like, that's a dog shit position. That's a defeatist position again. So for me, the good policies is what matter. And the problem is not what they're proposing. You know, it's like, if it's a good faith argument saying, it's like, hey, we're sending a lot of help to Ukraine, let's count that help. And that's a valid point. That's a valid point. I actually support it. I think the money that we are sending, and for example, and we are really interested in how it's being spent, because Ukraine did have some problems with institutional corruption, and they could use a help making sure that whatever they're receiving is being accounted for and used for legitimate purposes. But now the accounting has been done. We have the reports, we have the people that went there, they counted, they looked at the software that's used by Ukraine, they look at the accounts, they said the report, and then these people still continue saying, it's like, no, they counted wrong. That is completely out of this world. Like, that's when a good proposal turns into dog shit, defeatist position that has nothing to do with reality. That is the difference where I draw the line, and that's what I think. I would really hope that if you're from US and watching this, and you support some of the policies that, for example, that are in MAGA Republic, you have the right to do so. Like, everyone has the right for their opinion. It's like how people said, opinions are like assholes. Everyone got one. So you can have opinions and have opinions on policies and whatnot. But what I want to be aware of, that you to be aware of, is that a lot of the people, they don't just represent policies and ideas. Behind those policies and ideas, they propose and sell out you the defeatist position that US should give away any power that it has in the world, that all of the work and sacrifice that's been done of their many wars and a lot of the forefathers should be just forgotten, and US should be retracted to a small local state that it is. And in their defense, they're saying we need to focus on China. What they're actually saying is we need to ignore world threats and we need to back away and not support what matters and not involve ourselves. And that is as defeatist as it gets. Wow. Whew. Sorry. It was boiling in me for a while now. I don't know if it was coherent or not because I just needed to say it out. So, all right. Before I start reading, you guys, I want to do the second talk. The second one is addressing some of the question. I know Mark was asking me this, and a lot of the things that people have been looking up and seeing and talking about, that Ukraine, they're seeing these things that happen in Ukraine. For example, they're seeing like men being called in essentially into the army, that they are not completely fit, that some men are essentially being carried by the officer into the military office, that sometimes, at least there were stories that some of the fresh troops got onto battlefield, and there are a couple of things that we need to be aware of. Number one, and I'm not reading any morals here, I'm just trying to explain. Number one, what do you think total war is? Like, just stop for a second, like, and think about this term, total war, because Ukraine is right now in a state of total war. Ukraine is in a state where ginormous power compared to Ukraine decided that it's a pretty nice target to have and attack it. Ukrainian armed forces are not nearly sufficient to sustain itself. What do? What is the total war? You have 250,000, you have some people willing, and now you need to figure out, and then you get bombed, and then you get threats and so on, and then you need to beg and try to get any kind of weapon supplies, because the enemy has been undermining your defensive capabilities for decades. Now, in this state of total war, and the first kind of argument, do you think that you can do everything without doing any mistakes? Do you think that you can organize defense without any excesses, without any weird stories happening, without any specific people just randomly being sent? Everything is like, do you think that you can do this and organize this without anything going wrong? That is the first thing. Because I think the honest answer is it's a mess. It's a mess, and it's a stress as well. Like, to try to make sure that you have people that will stay and defend, because total war means that people need to die for the country to survive. That people need to give their lives away to survive, for the country to survive. Now, Ukraine, and I'm coming to the second point, Ukraine has a lot of defenders and people that really want to die for their country and are ready to do so. But imagine there is a defender like this that is coming to the military camp, to the military office, and then says, I want to enlist. And I say, like, nice, very nice. We really need you to clean the shit out of our tanks. So for the next war months, all the dirty equipment that will come, you will need to clean the shit out of that dirty equipment. All of the dead bodies, that the remains, you need to, like, you will be the cleaning guy. Now, That is also part of the total war mobilization. So if you have a guy with this motivation, do you think he will feel good that he will be motivated to go and fight after that? Probably not. Also not the best use of resources. Now imagine that you get a guy that, for example, was there, he's like a military age, he's healthy and whatnot, he's just doing jack shit. Well, why don't he go and start cleaning some of the shit? So in total war scenario, mobilization is not only mobilization of the troops to the front lines. Everyone that gets into the military office is not necessarily going to go onto the front lines. For every warrior that is fighting, there should be about 4 people working all day and trying to support, cleaning, preparing ammo, doing a lot of stuff. So a lot of those willing to go fight, they usually are the ones ending on the front lines. There are, however, times, then sometimes to the front line, people get that are not prepared. We know that. We know that people get because the war is messy. And here I want to address also the comment that was said, for example, that I said last time. I said that one shouldn't be critiquing the general staff of Ukraine because they don't know better. They are not there. And some people says like, well, does that mean that Ukraine is completely like proof of like completely innocent and haven't done any mistakes? No, there was a lot of mistakes, a shitloads of mistakes. So many mistakes, I'm pretty sure we can not even count. And a lot of these mistakes are what we're seeing, right? I am pretty sure there are also mistakes been done that costed a lot of lives, mistakes that people that were not supposed to be sent to the front lines got sent to the front lines, people that got sent to the front line without training, people that got sent to the front lines without equipment. War is messy. Total war is totally messy. And the third point, Ukraine, as much as we wanted to now see that Ukraine is the smart, progressive, efficient power, they were struggling a lot with their internal structures. A lot of the things that Ukraine is built on and how bureaucracy of Ukraine works is atrocious. And a lot of that bureaucracy, unfortunately, still hasn't been gone through. Like, for example, a lot of the army of Ukraine are already new. You know, it's the people that went through the 2014, they went through the front lines and were participating in actual war. But a lot of the mobilized army personnel, they were trained back in the Soviet times. Like if it's a sergeant or a lieutenant from when Ukraine was like a post-Soviet state in 91 and then he stopped being in 95, but now he's called in an army, well, how progressive of a commander he is. Not a very good one. Maybe he gets some up-to-date training, but he's still full of shit. Shitty knowledge, I mean. So there are a lot of these things, and a great best example is to represent it. I'm going to be personal example is of my wife. So she wanted to get some of her documents from Ukrainian university so she can apply for university here in Denmark. And she obviously didn't have. She quit university a while ago, but her documents were still in their archive. So she didn't have any student pass anymore because it ran out. She lost it, whatnot. So when she came to ask, well, can I get the documents out? They said, yes, you can, but you need to give us the student card back. And she said, well, I lost the student card. To which the person said, well, let's then order you a new student card. So we make you a new student card. So then you receive a new student card and then you can give us back the new student card. You pay back for losing the previous one. We also pay a fee for making a new one. And then we're going to receive that student card from you. And then we're going to give you the documents. That is the bureaucracy that Ukraine on a lot of levels have been still operating on. It's very dumb. It's very Soviet. It's very... Watch Anna from Ukraine. She explains a lot of these Soviet thinking. I should probably invite her, try to explain it a little bit more. But this is the level of bureaucracy that was there. And a lot of the Ukrainian state is still running on this. And finally, the last point that I want to make on this, for example, saying that, oh, they got a person into the army, and it was, for example, he had some proficiency with, I don't know, flying, and they said like, well, he has proficiency with flying, but they didn't took him as a pilot. They took him as a infantryman. Well, question is, how many pilots does Ukraine need? We need to understand that army is a resource for generals in the war, and I'm gonna tell you like something that's it's not very nice to hear, but generals in the war think of people as resource. That's why, for example, some people will need to die so others will survive. In war, generals make hard decisions. In war, generals make decisions that will send, for example, certain people to certain death. That's the kind, because they said you need to go there, you need to defend this ongoing onslaught of forces, so then the others, for example, can escape. That's the levels of decisions that generals needs to make. So when a person says, I'm a great pilot, whatnot, it's like, cool, but we have 100 pilots with some of the combat experience, whatever, and we have 10 planes, but we are really lacking on infantry right now. So infantry, that's what I'm saying. So we need to understand that a lot of these things happening, and a lot of this is overlaying, and there can be a number of reasons why certain things are happening. It might be mistake. There might be something we don't know. There might be sabotage. There might be enemy power working. There might be enemy just having more shit than Ukraine has. Like, for example, what's happening right now in Bakhmut. Because there's a lot more attacking forces than Ukrainian defensive forces. That's pretty much simple math. So, and then saying is like, this is all happening because Ukraine did mistakes. That is more than dishonest. That is saying that you know something that you actually don't, because no one knows it. And General Staff has the wealth of information, and we don't. That's why I trust in Armed Forces of Ukraine. That's why you should trust in Armed Forces of Ukraine, because we've seen what their actions are, and so far they have been steady. We'll see Ukraine regaining its territory and territorial borders, and it's going to be good. Right. Long talks. It's over. Pete Defeat, thanks for 50 pounds. Keep it up, Georgie. Do you think Russia, as we know, will cease to be after they are sent back to the Stone Age by Ukraine? It's possible. I thought about it, and I talked about this in my latest video, which is like just me talking. And I do start considering the world without Russia. That, for example, Russian culture is no more. That Russian culture and Russian heritage is going to be as dead as the Roman Empire. You know, it's like people will still refer to it. Like we will see a lot of the heritage, but it will not be an active, power. So that the Russian culture and Russian people will just start assimilating into other places because they will not have the country of their own. We will have Muscovy or something like this or something else. So I am starting to consider that this is a possibility. All right. Did I miss anything else? Susanna, thanks for 60 euros. Appreciate it. And now I can read your questions once again. Woo! We are 1,300 people here. Thank you so much. It's actually quite cool that we have 1,300 people and almost 1,300 likes. Guys, I'm missing 50 likes for until 1,300. So if you can do it just to even it out, that would be amazing. But also, thank you so much for watching and sharing the link to this video. Really appreciate it. It really gets us going despite Vlad Vexler and Starsky running at the same time. You should watch those streams after this one if you don't. They're really nice guys, especially Starsky. He's an amazing, he's a hero. He's the person that was actually fighting Ukraine and not like me, like a guy on YouTube just yelling at the camera about MAGA Republicans. Septic Lama, greetings from Norway. Glad to catch you live, my friend. Very nice. Thank you so much for calling me friend. I really appreciate it. Hey dog, both you and Starsky are live at the same time. Yeah, I know. Last time it was me and Dennis. It was even worse. Jerry Arnett, I'm sorry for saying stuff on your side, Georgie. What side? I don't take anything that people say to heart. The only thing I'm banning trolls. So uh, if we ban you, sorry, but I can read your comments, so that means you're not banned. So whatever you said, it's fine. NG Swanfox, you are 100% right. Tucker, who seemed to be driven by non-thinking ideology, yes. It's not just isolationist. You know, it's not only isolationist ideology, it's defeatist. And like I can imagine like countries, you know, like small nationalistic countries like Baltics having this kind of mentality, like we're a small thing, like with our small population and whatnot. We need to preserve Latvia and Latvian culture, whatnot. But US is a superpower. It's the country was built on win-win-win. You know, it's like business, like all of these things, like win, dominate, whatever. We're the best. And then their guys come in and says, "No, let's give this away." And then people was like, "Yeah." I was like, "What? How is that even American? How is that remotely American? Like that's the most anti-American thing I've heard." Hey, member for 5 months, Flash73. Welcome to all the fam members. Thanks so much, Flash. I really appreciate it. Always love your comments. Awesome HPT. Remember to call in the Call of Duty Modern Warfare series where Russia launches devastating invasion of the US and Europe. Turns out Russia can't even beat Ukraine. Yes, they cannot even take Bakhmut over 6 months. Over 6 months, they cannot take a city of 70,000. NG Swampfox, you are smarter and wiser than my political pundits in the media, and your answer is spot on. Thanks. Oh, appreciate it. Barak, do you think, do you know about Yuri Shvets on YouTube? He provides good analytical analysis on what is happening inside US politics about Ukraine. Yeah, I know about Shvets, but people caught him on telling bullshit and like you know really analyze his statements and whatnot and like a lot of his arguments are they're pushing it. I guess I can understand people watching him as a blogger, but I don't consider him an expert, and I don't really have that much time to really follow non-experts that much. So not because I don't like bloggers, I do. I watch some of the entertainment bloggers. They're not experts, they're just entertainment bloggers. But if I want to kind of, you know, keep up to date and have something to explain to you guys, there's a number of people I just need to watch because their opinions as experts matter. You reached 1300. Fantastic. Oh, yeah. All thanks to you. All thanks to you. Thank you so much for liking and sharing the stream. Only because of that, we're reaching so high. I'll drink on Russian Federation ending in the West Roman Empire for sure. Yeah. Don Donovan, come on, split Russia into 30 separate countries. Let's do it. Yes, agreed. Lafa, I don't watch Fox, but shocked they pave a pundit as blatantly pro-Putin as Carlson with no real stated reason. My guess he stated it's all the anti-democracy and simply takes that. Yeah, I mean, yeah. It's like, I mean, anti-democracy, that's also kind of the most anti-American things you can imagine. Average Joe #1, definitely not average for me, but Marjorie is doing it because Biden is supporting Ukraine. She automatically takes opposite positions. Tucker does it because his viewers are MAGA. Yeah, but like they didn't have to. Like a lot of the position could have been taken as like, yeah, we're not like Biden is pussy. He's not doing more enough. Like he's a sucker. He's just so afraid of Putin because he's such a bitch. You know, there's a lot of arguments that could be made for that, and it still preserve the U.S. position as a dominant power in the eyes of the world and in the eyes of American. But they are literally calling to be defeatist, and that's what I'm saying. You know, there is options. Okay. Danob, more likes than there are viewers. Lol. Now that is an achievement. That is an achievement. Thank you so much. I would love to have more viewers as well, but Uh, not when Starsky and Vlad are competing with me. Thank you so much to everyone that is following here. I really, really like it. Ednov Storm Brewer. Are you learning Ukrainian language by any chance? Так, я потрохи вивчаю українську. Я можу добре розуміти українською, але для мене ще дуже складно розмовляти, тому що багато коли я запам'ятаю слова чи інші things. So yeah, I'm learning some Ukrainian, but it's still hard. I'm still having troubles with it. Marjorie is doing it. Okay, I read it. Yes, thank you so much again. Average Joe, definitely not average for me. Oh, I already said it. Oh my god, I'm repeating jokes. Unsubscribe for repeating jokes. Okay, John Potler. They like Tucker and everyone else, just hide their heads in the sand. They fear what this could turn into. They just take it worse. Democracy has to have teeth or it's dead. Exactly. Exactly. Yes. Democracy needs to protect itself. Democracies need to stick to democracies because that's how we get shit done. If democracy starts sticking to non-democracies, then we get Putin, and then it's like, oh, I'm strong, democracy is weak. Let me bounce democracies. Yeah. Cole Zibrovsky, have you seen the explosions tonight near Moscow? Not tonight. Explosions, not yet. I was having a really, really tough day. I came home like 15 minutes before I started the stream, and basically I still haven't caught up with today's news fully. Dylan Voller. I misread the name. Sorry, I need to remember. Russian shot my country's plane 2014, caused chaos where my parents are, and now threatened my wife, family in Ukraine. I hate all of those dictators. K-Dog, I feel you so much. I feel you so much. Raul, I would love some merch with Russian army shit. Trust IFU profits to IFU. I'm already working on it. I've seen first proposals from like a person that's kind of dealing with it. Like I have some guy helping me out, but it's not cool enough. I want it to be good. You know, I don't want it to be complete shit. If you're paying money, I want you to get some really nice stuff. Dylan Fowler, молодец. Mika Rasika, well, I think that defeatist mentality is more of a Russian propaganda stance. Tucker and others are getting something out of it. For sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of them that just do it for money. Volgan Brem, blind contrarianism is a good explanation too. I don't even think it's about democracy. You can be in favor of basic human rights even if you don't care about democracy. Fair enough. I mean, I couldn't agree. Vadim Orlov, that was really good. I understand what you have saying perfectly. Cool. Yay. Maris Mutinieks, I think it would be bad if Russia would collapse in smaller countries. It will happen. It will be harder to return stolen Ukrainian children back. Sveti and Norigs. Yeah, I mean, it may be, but it might be inevitable. So even if Russia stays, it might just be so weak that it, like, basically the territories within Russia may become autonomous, even if they technically will be part of the state. That's great, Ukrainian. Everyone needs to start somehow. Thanks. Appreciate it. Democracy is like a complicated, messy relationship, but it's super sure than a forced arranged marriage. Yeah, for sure. Gord Simpson. Hi, Gord. Thank you so much for helping so much with the drones and everything. Love it. NJ Swampfox, TG Ukrainian language sounds more like Polish than Russian. Yeah, I mean, it's a Slavic language, so why not? You're doing a great job. Thank you. Jose, thank you so much. Appreciate it. The Ukrainian kids' names. Ah, okay. Ellie. Thank you so much, Ellie. Жора, Mila, Mikhailo, Sanya, and Kolya. How would I form it? I need to give me a second. Give me a second. So, let's see. Shora, Mila, Mikhaila, Sanya, and Kolya. Uh, yes. Okay. Zhora, Mila, Mikhaila, Sanya, and Kole. Ukrainian kids that are in Poland, so proud and loyal. Your heritage and culture you hold so dear. And in your hearts and souls, it's always near. Though far from homeland, you shine so bright and bring a piece of Ukraine with you day and night. Your language, your customs, your traditions, so rich, are a beautiful reminder of your unique niche. May you always cherish your roots and your past and continue to grow and flourish free at last. For you are the future, the hope of tomorrow. And with your strength and courage, overcome any sorrow. Zhora, Mila, Mikhailo, Sanya, and Koля. Ukrainian kids in Poland, keep on soaring higher. And may your dreams and aspirations come true, for the world needs more like you, so bold and true. There we go. That was terrible. But huge love for all the kids that have to suffer. My wife's um, brother and his family, they have a kid, like a small kid, and they live in Chernihiv, and they had to basically spend days in the basement while missiles were destroying parts of the houses around them. It was one of the most stressful times of my life. Period. So I am very sorry that whatever we did, we were not able to prevent this, and that kids in Ukraine have to live through this and from Ukraine. Like, I thought my childhood was bad, but like I wasn't kicked out of my home because of some genocidal dictator with delusions of grandeur. So we'll try to make it right. Right. Sorry. Um, yes. MVO 2525. Welcome to Brother in Arms. Mighty Righty One. Thanks for €5. Can Moldova hold vote to unite with Romania? Quick away an NATO and EU. It's a very divisive topic. There's a lot of Vatniks in Moldova, unfortunately. That Indian dude. Greetings from Australia. Love to Australia for sure. Okay, Michelle, thanks for sure. Average Joe One. Any idea what interview with Finnish military trainer who said Ukrainian troops are badly trained? Do you think newly created units will be better trained? Yeah, I've read that interview with Finnish. We need to understand compared to what? Compared to NATO standards? Yeah, shit. Complete garbage, probably. But they are doing what they can. They are doing what they can. I mean, I'm pretty sure when Finland fought their war, they were also not all professionals. A lot of the guys that are fighting on the front lines are average Joes. But a lot of the things that Finnish guys said, I don't feel that they are deserved. I think a lot of this was overstatement to the last. But he has the right to his opinion. But I've heard critique of him of exaggerating things, both from Ukrainians, Ukrainian soldiers, and whatnot. So uh, very shady though. It's like so. Take it with some truth for sure, and some of the Ukrainians are definitely not that well trained. But this is not everywhere, and it's. I would love it if it would be a little bit better. Next time, we should ask Russia to give Ukraine a little bit more time to prepare. So then, Finnish guys that come and look at this will not be as critical of Ukrainian troops. But maybe they're poorly trained, but they're putting the heart out. They're putting themselves under gunfire. That should matter for something. I think in a vertical display, the Ukrainian flag should have this blue stripes on left. We're not talking this again. Ukrainian flag stays the way they are. We've had this discussion for four different streams and videos on which way should it go. And do you think Ukrainian POVs will return home safely? I am hoping for that. But I'm definitely some of them will die. We don't know how many of them did die. Maybe some of them that Russia don't want to exchange, they are already dead very easily. Swedish Slacker, do you have some advantage of Latvian when learning Ukrainian? No. They're extremely far apart as languages. Latvian is not even a Slavic language. Like, my Russian knowledge is helping me with Ukrainian. I speak fluent Russian. Because Soviets. I was born in Soviets, if you didn't know. I pretty much finished the school that was technically Latvian, but very technically. Like, it had every curriculum from Soviet times. Bogdan Test Software from Romania. Where will be the great future for both Ukraine, Moldova, and EU? Yes, that would be nice. Lukas Balaban. Latvians should send large places as military aid. Yeah, well. Maybe the book are heavy enough. Helen Dunn, Ukrainians didn't have time to train like NATO during a war, but nobody has more balls. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Agree. Lou Gersing, how do you react meeting an ordinary Russian civilian in Denmark? Maybe he lived here in Denmark before the war. Slava Ukraini. Yeah, that happened a couple of times. It's a lot of apathy. Like I don't like imagine being really, really excited about something and then it turned out to be oh. So it's like starting from negative. You know, it's like, okay, now I need to force myself to interact with this person. So I don't feel excited to interact with any of them. Because if I just get mad at them, it's not going to do any good. If they are promoting nonsense, well, I mean, what do I do? It like, do I fight? Like, that's just gonna get him a lot of money in Denmark. Like in Denmark, if you initiate a fight and a person gets some trauma and whatnot, you're just gonna pay him a lot of money. He's just gonna get a lot of money. So the only problem, like that, the only thing I can do is support Ukraine more, and that's what I do. There's a couple of Russians that I know and we interacted with, and what I did is basically I helped them set up some donations for Ukraine. So I got some of their money to support Ukraine. Hope that helped. How surprised were you, Mr. Serbia, that are sending long-range Grad rockets? Serbia wasn't selling the like. Let's be clear on this. Serbia didn't send the long-range Grad rockets. Serbia sold those to third party. Selling and sending, very different things. But I was surprised. Let's put it straight. I was still very surprised. Miguel 1835. With all the actual war expense, Ukraine will have the most battle-hardened army in the world. After the war, they're once going out to train smaller armies. Yeah, for sure, and Poland as well. Yahweh, Yahweh, welcome to Brother in Arms. Appreciate it. Maria, it was one person's, and the issue was discussed here. Not all experts agree on or others. Okay, whatever this was referring to. Bogdan test software, Transnistria or Putin loyalist, be damned. Yes. Madame Sunar, thanks, George. The kids will love it. I hope so. That was really bad. I'm really bad at reading poems. As I told you, like, I'm really bad at theater or any kind of performative arts. Not my kind of thing. All right, how long we are up, actually, guys? Let me just look at the time. Do we have any timer on this? Okay, 2 hours, 3 minutes. There was half an hour. Let's do 15 minutes more, and then we're slowly gonna wrap it up because I see it's already 980 people. You already get tired of me, and I better get some sleep and make video. I'm not sure if tomorrow. I hope tomorrow, but Saturday weekend for sure. There's gonna be one video, but maybe I'm gonna make another one. What do say to pacifists who argue that war is so deadly and destructive that occupation is better? Cool. Send more weapons so there will not be war. So more weapons, less war. Listen to what NATO General Secretary is saying is like, we are in a situation where more weapons brings faster ending of the war. If they continue arguing for neutrality, then there are pieces of shit that are okay with kids being raped and genocide. Fuck them. Alison Marlowe, British soldiers say that the younger under 45 armed forces soldiers are very well trained, but the older ones suck. They're still stuck in the old Soviet ways and refuse to adapt. Pretty possible, right? That's we discussed this today. For example, I told you the example of like a lieutenant that was trained like around the 90s. They think that they know shit, but they actually don't, and they just act that they know. There's, for example, some Ukrainian experts that are ex-militaries, and people listen to them, like they get hundreds of thousands of views, but they spout complete nonsense. Like I was listening to them and says like a lot of these goes against from the experts that I listen to otherwise, and then I catch them on some like complete stupid nonsense. Like for example, they're not being able to tell apart a javelin from an NLAW, and then the guy says, I'm a military fucking expert, and it's like, no, you're not, you're full of shit. That's what you are. So but like compared to me, their streams and videos are like, and that's what I'm basically saying, that it's a lot of these things that we think people know, they actually don't. And for example, like other channels that are spouting propaganda, people asked me today about what is the Weeb Union and History Legends. The guys just spouting Russian propaganda, and people like, yeah, 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 yeah. Mm, mm, gotta eat more shit. Okay, okay. Sub Hero, just curious, do you still have Soviet era memorabilia, or was it more like a chuck it all out? Let's quickly forget. Do I have Soviet era memorabilia? Well, I moved to Denmark without anything. Literally, I just had clothes on me. Beyond that, I was born in a very, very poor family. Like poor on the level of how do you say? Um, we were gathering for scraps and shit to sell. Like not shit to sell, but like I'm not sure if you know, it's like if you have like a system of like bottles, like gathering trash and whatnot, and get paid for that. That was basically my childhood. The fast noodles, the simple noodles. That's pretty much was a luxury to eat something like this. So I was born in pretty much like a severe poverty. So I didn't have a lot of memorabilia that belonged to our family or whatnot. So most of what the things that I have was built after independence of Latvia and by myself. So I don't really have a lot of stuff. HM, fun fact, Polish and Ukrainian share more lexical similarities than Russian and Ukrainian. Yes, that's very true. F. Mertz, why don't you tell us how you really feel? Yeah. Who wasn't poor in the Soviet step party? Party leadership. Party leadership. What am I saying is that Aaron Love. What am I saying is I reserve the right to be wrong, meaning what I believe can be wrong. I mean, I can be wrong. Like I was wrong on this channel. I am pretty sure there are many things that I'm wrong about now. I'm pretty sure there will be many things I will be wrong about in the future. Again, if you're watching me for a military expertise, I am not. I am not a military expert. I just have, after finishing a university, I have an understanding what is a trusted source and how to verify sources, how to make sure that the sources can do predictive predictions, and I can measure how accurate those predictions are because I know how to make hypotheses and how to make statistically significant testing for it. So for that, I can verify if the certain sources is worth listening to and if the other certain sources are not worth listening to. After listening to these sources for now more than half a year, I am now quite confident that I'm getting a lot of accurate information. I still might be wrong. Like a best example was when we had this supposed attack just recently around Bakhmut, and I said that it wasn't confirmed, but then one of the sources said that, hey, you know, this is like this, but this was exactly the case when that source was wrong. But the rest ones that I listened to dismissed it. So that's how I get my knowledge. That's how I get my knowledge. But again, this is more or less my blog-ish channel. So here I don't really measure who has the best sources. If you're looking for accurate information and argue about sources, I don't know, try reporting from Ukraine. He really likes doing. Also, another thing, some people think I'm selling here some hard facts. We were discussing this with Ellie just recently. So some people discuss just, Georgie, why don't you just stick to the facts and just fucking report and shut the fuck up with your opinions? So that was pretty funny because I mean, I'm putting my opinions where those matter and not don't matter. Because to be honest, my opinion does matter. I'm a guy on YouTube. What matters is Ukraine. I'm hoping that if my opinions are entertaining you, great. If my personality entertains you, super. If you're enjoying just being having this kind of conversations, chats, amazing. Because whatever we're doing, we're slowly but surely growing the channel and we're able to start doing something. We're supporting Ukraine. First, I did it just by myself with some of the profits that I got from the channel, and now we're also incorporating since Christmas some of the charity events. And we are doing so much more than I was ever expecting to support people, children, and whatever else in Ukraine. And this is more than me as a personality. My personality doesn't matter. I'm a fucking nobody compared to what matters actually, which is like getting the injustice that is happening in Ukraine right. Ukraine is not a perfect country. It has a lot of shit in it. It has a lot of problems, corruption, issues to deal with. But that doesn't mean that Ukraine is just a country and people in Ukraine are worth abandoning. That we just need to let go and say, okay, money matters more than people dying. At that moment, I don't see myself. So yeah, yeah. I'm gonna do what I can, and I have all the great, no, not the great. Like what was the word? The all the thanks to you guys that I can make, I will make. Just because I don't know like how to not do it. I was not expecting this. I was not expecting to ever have over 1,000 people watching me at the same time. That's just crazy, boggling my mind. So I want people in Ukraine to stop being killed. That is what matters. Me, channel, whatever, doesn't matter. But I love you all. All right, I need to wrap it up, guys. I said 15 minutes, but I'm gonna cry fucking. So, huge love. Thank you so much for being here with me. If I didn't answer any comments, please leave them under the comment section. As always, I'm gonna post the video as a separate video, and I'm gonna open the recording once I deal with the what is called the not the legal but the because I start my streams with music, and music do the copyrights. I need to cut them out, and it's not easy because don't worry, YouTube's shit. Just see you guys next time. Watch for videos. Love you all. Slava Ukraini.